All right. Well, hello, everyone. I'm going to ask if you are not the speaker that you go ahead and mute yourselves. No? Excellent. It is so good to be joined by everyone this morning. I know that tropical storm and soon to be Hurricane Helene is on everyone's minds this morning. And so in light of that, we are not going to do our breakouts that we sometimes do at the very end. So we'll have our presentation this morning. We'll do some agency report outs if anybody wants to share any preparedness items or anything for the good of the order. We will still include that section, but we want to make sure that we really maximize everyone's time this morning. So just thank you so much for being here. And I'm very excited for our presentation this morning. I've had the pleasure to meet Joe just recently as he's gotten kind of more acclimated to our community. And so without further ado, I would like to turn over our meeting this morning to Joe Bruan, the Chief Philanthropy. Sorry, I have not had my coffee yet this morning. I'm a little tongue-tied. Chief Philanthropy Officer at Collaboratory. So, Joe, before I tongue twist my way through any other part of this presentation, I will turn it over to you. Oh, and we're still getting some background noise. So if you can make sure you're muted, that would be wonderful. I know Tina's trying to manage everybody's sound there. Okay, Joe.
All right, thank you very much, Madison. It's easy enough, just call me the CPO. I found that it's much easier to introduce myself too if I haven't had my coffee yet. Thank you very much for having me. I am newish to the Fort Myers area permanently, but I have been coming down here with my family since the 80s and love Southwest Florida. Love development, love working with nonprofits, love the community foundation world, and I've been involved in the nonprofit world for over 20 years, from directors of marketing, development to executive director, and now I'm back basically in the chief development role. And development is something that I'm very passionate about and I love. And I'm going to talk a little bit about strategic fundraising. Something you'll learn about me if you get to talk with me. I don't like the word fundraising. I prefer the word development. I love relationship building. To me, I call fundraising the F word. I think we build relationships. To me, fundraising lasts for a finite amount of time. We rah and then we move on. So development to me is much more relationship based and building those relationships. So my presentation and how I kind of present is going to be pretty conversational. And at the end, I'll leave time for questions if you feel there's things you want me to add more on, but I'll get started. So this is Collaboratory. This is our beautiful building. When I started at Collaboratory, I sent it out to all my friends back in Wisconsin and they were like, "You have palm trees at work?" I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate." So again, I'm the CPO, much easier to discuss. And as we look at strategic fundraising, I could talk for probably about 10 hours on strategic fundraising, but I wanted to narrow it down to these kind of simple things that we're starting off with. A lot of our organizations and nonprofits are pretty bare bones. Not everybody has the benefit of having a large staff size. So I think some of these components are good to look at and to kind of break down. So I think it's important to review the past, determine goals, assess your organizational capabilities, analyze competition, identify technology, evaluate long-term strategy, and then stewardship. So it wasn't a typo. I find that to be the most important thing that we have. So reviewing the past, I think every year that we start off fresh, it's really important to look at what did we do that worked? And then also what did we do that didn't work? I think it's okay to fail. You know, we look at things, we try to create opportunities. If they work, great. If not, like, hey, it's not a mistake, it's an opportunity. And how do we overcome it? What do we do next? How is our team makeup? Do we have team members in the right spots? Do we have everybody where they should be? Do we have opportunities for growth on our team? Do we have active board participation? Is our board participating? Is our board maybe participating too much? Do they participate financially? How active is our volunteer base? Do we utilize volunteers? Are we utilizing them in the right way? How should we be assembling them? And then, generally, were our development efforts successful? Like, let's look at our metrics. Did we meet our goals for the current year? Did we meet our numbers? How many meetings did we have with donors? How often did we meet with strategic partners? And I think it's important. I don't, sometimes people get overwhelmed with metrics, but I think it's important to gauge how many meetings that you have with those important partners, donor touch bases, things like that. And then excuse me, after we've done that, then I think it's important that every year we develop goals, determine our goals that we have for the upcoming year. First of all, look at, do we have a capital campaign this year? So we look at that four-legged fundraising stool. Do we have a capital campaign? If so, we look at that first. But then we focus on the other three legs of the fundraising stool. We have to determine how much are we planning on bringing in for annual gifts? Do we have a plan for our major gifts? What is our planned giving strategy? Are we wanting to bring in so many endowment gifts? Or to me, it's just as important to meet with as many plan givers, financial planners, estate lawyers, and start developing those relationships, and then those plan gifts will come. How many mailings will we have this year? Have we worked with donors to find out how many touch points they feel are ideal? What have we found historically that beyond our annual appeal, do we have a spring one? Do we have a summer one? How do we make the best contact with the snowbirds as they come back? What programs do we have? Are they working? Should we continue them? Should we shrink them? Should we expand? Like, let's look at our programming and see what we're doing. If it's successful, how we could tweak that. What events are we planning for the upcoming year? Were they successful last year? Is it best to have a gala, however, I can't stand that word, a large get together? Or are we better off having targeted smaller meetings where we meet with 10 to 20? We have a board member host, bring in some of their friends, and we have more targeted approaches to our events. Are we doing a golf outing? Are we doing, so look at some strategic things for the event. Sometimes I think, experiential events sometimes are better than all the work that goes into a golf outing. Hold like a bourbon and beef tasting or something like that, just to excite people and bring them in, something unique that fits for our organization. And then very importantly, I think it's important to create a development calendar of events with all your activities that you're doing for the whole year. Lay that out January through December, all your touch points, all your events, your donor events. If you're doing professional advisor events, map out that so that you're making consistent touch points with the community, with your stakeholders, with the audiences that you really feel passionate about. And next, assess your organizational capacity. How big is our team? Do we feel that our team is the right size? Based upon our budget and money that we have available, are there growth opportunities? Could we outsource some of our activities that we do? Could we outsource our marketing? Could we utilize interns at a local university, at FGCU or some other universities? How can we best make our team the most efficient as possible with the resources that we have? Again, I bring up the board. I think boards are so important. Do we have an active board? Does our board know how to properly articulate our message out to the community, out to their friends, out to their stakeholders? How can we utilize them? Do we want them to just be checkbooks? Do we want them to be door openers for us? And then, do we have an active volunteer group? So many organizations need active volunteers, and are we utilizing them the right way? And the one thing I want to let people know that they often don't find out until it's much too late is, don't burn out your volunteers. Make sure you're constantly touching base with them, asking them what the optimal timeframes that they could help. And maybe they're not helping in an area that's an energy gain for them. Maybe they're I don't know, helping at a brat fry, but they'd much rather be opening doors for you with their friend group. So make sure that you're utilizing them the right way. Volunteers are the backbone of a lot of organizations because we are extremely lean in our team. Again, do we have a budget to add team members? We've kind of hit on that. And then do we have strategic partners that we could align with or partner with on events to share resources? So this could be looking for corporate partners that match with our mission. Look into different corporate foundations out there, see what their giving patterns are, if they're passionate about youth, if they are strong in women and girls. Search those out and then align ourselves with them strategically. But then we could also look at what are some nonprofits that maybe aren't direct competition, that are kind of like us, that we could maybe partner with, and we could share resources on to host events and kind of get outside of our silo and enhance what we're doing. Analyze our competition. Look out in the community, find out who are our competitors. Where do we stand in relation to them? What are they doing that seems to be successful? What are they doing that's not successful? Review their websites. How are we comparing to them? What do they have for capabilities for people to give on their websites? And I know this sounds bad, but every good development person does it. Like organizations, look at their website, see who their sponsors are, review some of their past events, see who their sponsors are. If they support them, you guys support like missions. And people who are philanthropic and give to charities, they don't give to just one charity. They'll give to 5 to 7 to 10 different charities. So, they're going to give to them, but they're also going to give to others. How can you align yourselves with them? Who's on their board? The people who are on their board, it could be organizations that are passionate about your cause. It could be people who might fill and partner with you with your mission. So there's a lot of great things that you can glean from studying your competition. Identify technology. I think this is a big thing, especially as we move forward. There's a lot of technology out there we can get. There's a lot of technology that makes our job more cumbersome, but there's a lot of technology that definitely make things more efficient. What software are we currently using? How are we communicating with donors? We have a lot of different donor ages, and some are male, some prefer email. Do we have an online presence? Do we have social media where we can reach people? I think, finding out what some of those are, doing surveys of our donors to find out what their best methods to communicate are. Some people are still phones. Some of our donors are getting older. Some of them like meeting in person. Some of them don't like meeting in person. So we really have to study. And I think it's important to survey our donors, how we're communicating. You can do things like Constant Contact and some of those other social media things where you can post once and it hits all your platforms. So when we're lean and we're being very efficient with donated dollars and good stewards with those dollars, what are we doing to use those most efficiently? And have we researched the options available to nonprofits to enhance our technology? I talk to a lot of nonprofits. They're not familiar like with TechSoup and Newegg and some of those other online platforms where they don't know that they can get software and things at a nonprofit rate. Some are free, some are not quite an enhanced version as there could be, and people can get that relatively cheap. So there's a lot of great options out there. Evaluate your long-term strategy. I think this is really important. To me, this is what there I have on my second bullet point. Do we have development goals beyond just the current year? Are we doing strategic planning, or are we just fundraising? I think a lot of organizations get strapped because they do the current year and then they get done and they're like, oh, now we got to start for next year. Like, you can always adapt, but do we have 3-year, 5-year and goals into perpetuity? Do we have an endowment? What does it take to grow an endowment? Are we partnering with community foundation per se that can help us to grow an endowment, kind of be our backbone so we don't have to do that work, and the nonprofit like the community foundation can do that work. They can invest it. They can help create materials for us that can teach us how to do the endowment. What should our endowment strategy be? Excuse me. So you look at your endowment strategy, and sorry, I got to take a drink of coffee from Madison. Do we have a goal? Is there a spending policy? So a lot of spending policies could be 4 to 5%. If you get $1 million endowment, that could be 40,000, roughly, or 40 to 50,000. What does that annual thing look like that you could do that for your organization? So work with your board, work with stakeholders, determine what your endowment strategy should be and how it could help you. Like, could fund your programs. It could fund, maybe some of your overhead for admin. So there's different opportunities. And along with endowment, do we consult with professional advisors? I found early on that I would work with donors, develop great relationships. We'd grow very close, and they would go meet with their professional advisor, and professional advisor would say, "Oh, I'm not really familiar with them. Why don't, no offense to United Way, let's just give it to United Way. I know the United Way. I know the Boys and Girls Club. Let's just give it to them." So I found it's just as important, almost as important as donors, as it is to develop those relationships with professional advisors if endowment and planned gifts are your strategy. To me, that's what our goal is. We work with annual gifts with donors, work with annual gifts, develop their trust. We show them that we're good stewards, and we hope that in their wills and estate plans, they remember us with a larger gift, 10, 25 times what their annual gift is. And that helps to grow some of our endowment perpetuity. They can endow a program. So a lot of the things that they're passionate about, we do that. We do that through the work with professional advisors and making sure that we don't present ourselves as the experts. We always want the professional advisors to be the experts, that we have a good collegial relationship with them. We always defer to them, even if we have not. It's important for us to have knowledge and gain knowledge on, like, IRS charitable rollovers. What's a QCD? What's an RMD? How can they give? So those kind of things are important as we build that endowment strategy. Stewardship, stewardship, stewardship. So to me, this is the most important thing. This is where a lot of organizations drop the ball. Hey, we do great programming. We send thank you letters to our donors. But I just did a little research. There's 100,000 nonprofits in Florida. How do we set ourselves apart? I think I saw that there's 60,000 501c3s. So that's our competition. Those people can give to any one of those, but how do we keep ourselves fresh in their minds? What do we do to say, wow, they really go above and beyond. They thank me, but then they also let me know what's the impact my gift is having. What are our stories? Tell them. We need to be story driven. When we have programs that are doing amazing things, it's the stories that have the impact. And a lot of organizations are like, hey, we're doing these great things, but there's no stories that touch the heartstrings. That's what gets people to give. Tell stories about your team. Tell stories about your board members. Make them feel closer. People can relate. How do we thank donors? Again, this is important. How do donors want to be thanked? Do they want to be thanked with just the thank you? Do they want us to tell them how it's working right away? I think building those things out, sharing with donors the impact of what their gifts are doing, and how many touch points a year do we have? I've had donors who were major donors, and I'm like, I got to really thank them, a number of times. And he's like, Joe, just thank me for my gift. I only want to hear from you guys twice a year. Don't worry, it's not going to dissuade me. I just don't want to be overburdened with the number of touch points. So this is going to be kind of twofold. Every donor is different. So again, this is where having the right software, knowing your donors is so important. So each donor, some donors want to be contacted a lot. They want to constantly be thanked. That's very important to them. Other donors don't. So we got to have software that can easily do that. And again, knowing your donors, this is hugely important too. You meet with a donor, they share that their grandchild goes to Minnesota, their other grandchild goes to FSU, and their wife had surgery last year. Put that in their donor card. Remember that so that the next time you talk about it, you bring it up. They're they're like, wow, these people really listen. They do care about me. I'm just not a check to them. They really care. And this is how you set yourselves apart from the other 99,000 nonprofits out there that are your competition. How do we determine how often we contact? And this is survey. Ask them, build relationships. It's constantly building relationships, growing trust. And sometimes we hear from board members, they're like, oh, you just met with them. How much did you get on that gift? How much did you bring in? And it's relationships. It's building that relationship over time. So I think you look at it's kind of like this, like what is their capacity to give and how strongly do they feel about your organization? And I don't know if you could see my hands, but that's where those two meet. And as you constantly grow what they know about your organization and their capacity to give, it'll consistently grow your gift size. And another way to think about it is think about a dartboard. If you play darts, the outside is where all donors start. Our goal is to grow that relationship, build that trust, get them eventually into the bullseye. We may lose some people around the doubles, the very outside of the dartboard, and that's okay. But we want to make sure that they still feel strongly about us. But the ones who are getting to the middle, they'll bring their friends in, and we want to get as many people into that bullseye as we can. The second gift is the hardest, and I really feel strongly about this. People will give the first time. They'll see that, the save the manatees. They're like, I want to save the manatees. They're beautiful. So then you give, but then how do you get that second gift? That's through stewardship. You thank them for the gift. You let them know the impact that their gift is having. How are you presenting yourself to them? And once you get that second gift, that means that you've developed trust, you've stewarded them the right way, and then you can continue to grow that. Do we have unique ways that we can steward? I think depending upon what our organization is, what our mission is, there could be unique ways. We can invite donors into our building. We can take them on a trail if what we have is a nature preserve. We'll take them out, we'll give them experiences beyond just the handwritten thank you that we give. So I think there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. And that's actually it. So I know, what was it, like 25 minutes, but I think, there's a lot of information there, and hopefully you guys found it impactful and enjoyed it. And I'm here to take any and all questions that you have.
Thank you, Joe. That was very interesting. And there were some questions on there that I started thinking about, the answers and how, we could review. So I'm sure that everybody on this call definitely had some takeaways. I saw a hand shoot up as soon as you put this screen on. So we'll go in the order of the hands that are raised. So we'll start with Roxanne.
Hi, quick question. I was
Oh,
just a
and if you
few
want to
minutes.
introduce yourself and your agency, just so we have some context.
Sure. My name's Roxanne Dyer. I'm the development director at Florida Rural Legal Services. Quick question. I was just a couple minutes late, so I don't know if you touched on this at the very beginning, but do you incorporate grants into any of this strategy whatsoever? And if not, what's your philosophy on whether grants should be part of development versus part of more of a finance arm of your organization?
Yeah, hi Roxanne, it's very nice to meet you. I I do. So I didn't incorporate grants specifically into this. some organizations do grants, some don't. I think grants are definitely part of the fundraising arm from a community foundation perspective. Actually, at Collaboratory, we do grants. They fall under the programmatic side more. But I do think that grants, I think working with corporate foundations, I think working with any kind of foundation that you can find is extremely important as part of your development plan. I think finding those partners, those family foundations, corporate foundations, the Rotaries, the service clubs, there's a lot of opportunities out there for people that grants should definitely be part of the fundraising stool. So thank you. That's definitely true.
Any other questions for Joe? Marissa?
Good morning, Marissa. I work in development at Our United Way. And I know you touched on the technology aspect. Are you able to expand on those systems that you had shared with us?
Which
The
system
platforms.
specific?
I can't remember the name of them.
Sure, there's a number of them out there. TechSoup is probably the best one. I know that historically things like Adobe and QuickBooks and a lot of those software things you can get out there. There was Newegg, there's Cantera, I believe it is. If you search nonprofit software sites, a lot of those will come up, and there's great opportunities out there for organizations. A lot of them are based upon your organization asset size, and you can definitely get things at a much cheaper rate.
And are
Any
those
oh, sorry, Marissa,
sorry.
go ahead. No, go
Are
ahead.
those mostly like client like CRM systems, so like donor relations, or are they like, what else can those systems offer to nonprofits, I guess, is the main question.
Yeah, if you go out to TechSoup and look, there's a lot out there. I haven't been there, like I didn't dive into it before like the presentation today, but I know that we used to get a lot of things there. We would get Microsoft Office, but I know most of them come with computers now, so I probably dated myself there a little bit. But there's a lot of opportunities out there, and probably newer ones that you can get a lot of the software that you need.
Thank you, Joe. We've gotten a lot of our technology from TechSoup, but Newegg I had not heard of, so I know I'll be Googling that after.
I believe Newegg is one. So if you look at it, I think Newegg was one of those software platforms. It popped into my head, but.
Other questions for Joe? I love that you stress the importance of relationship, Joe. That's something that we are always talking about, that we, really share that, you really want to develop those relationships. Just the other day, I got a handwritten thank you card from a partner that we've been working with for 20 years, and it just speaks to that, it's always a work in progress. You never take those partnerships and those relationships for granted, whether they're new or you've had them for a few decades. I mean, it just really is at the core of everything that we do. And I think that goes hand in hand with that second gift is the hardest. People feel motivated when there's that charge. But if you don't have that relationship, that can just flatline. So great pointers today. Anything else for Joe?
I was just going to say too, I think
yes,
especially in a community this size, and I've already noticed that a lot of board members serve in multiple capacities on different organizations. So that relationship building is even more important because it's the same people on a lot of the same boards. And how do you differentiate yourself? And if they're at a cocktail party or a golf outing, who are they talking about? Because there's multiple organizations that they're involved with.
Absolutely. Judy. Oh, you have to unmute that. There you go.
Yes. Hi, I'm Judy Baker Basil. I'm with the Lee County Imagination Library. I'm an affiliate of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, where we give free books to the children of Lee County. And how do you find more board members? Where do you go to network? Like you said, there's some that are on multiple boards. I kind of put the cart before the horse because I was mentored by the Charlotte County Imagination Library. And they've been in existence 11 years, but when they started out, they were with the Charlotte Players. That was, and so they kind of had a network, a strategy and a structure already set up when they just went to their nonprofit. I started with my own nonprofit, and they're a smaller county, and there's 37,000 children under the age of 5 in Lee County. And so this mushroom, I added their, when it took them 11 years, I did it in 10 months, the children. And now all of a sudden I'm out of money because of it. It mushrooms so fast. So how do you find people that are like-minded and that it can sit on a couple of different boards and help?
Yeah, I think, first of all, thanks for all the great work that you do in the community. That's amazing. I think your best thing that you can do is look at some of your donors, look at some of your stakeholders, look at some of the partners of the library. You can even put a call out, like if you're on LinkedIn, put on LinkedIn that you're actively looking for board members. You could search the area, search businesses or service clubs that are passionate about kids or have kids as their mission. So I think you could reach out to the Rotaries. You could reach out to maybe like a young professionals organization, the chamber, and they could ask, who are the groups that are passionate about kids? And I think they'll start to connect some dots. You'll build relationships with those organizations at the same time as you bring in volunteers and potential board members. And I think you probably already have this, but having a determination of how much work is going to be involved in being the board member, because it really does vary per organization. So the frequency of your board meetings, how much time it will need to be devoted, and those kind of things, I think will help you. But I think it's a lot of people, I'm sure, would want to be part of your board because of your mission. So just getting that information out there and finding people, I think you'll have no problem filling that void.
Thank you, Joe. And Judy, if you wouldn't mind dropping your email address in the comment section, and Tina, if you could grab that. We actually had somebody reach out about a year ago regarding the Imagination Library, something similar, a concept that they wanted to get connected with. So we'd be happy to make that introduction to you. That may be a good first person for you.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Ariana.
Hi, I'm with Healing Stitches, and I was just wondering if you were able to forward the PowerPoint that was just used.
Joe, are you good with that?
Sure.
Okay, then we'll follow up this email with sharing that with the group.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ariana. I'm also happy that if Madison wants to share my contact information, and any of you guys have additional questions that you'd like to bounce off of me, I'm always available to try to help any way you can if you think what I have to offer is valuable.
Thank you.
We'll definitely include that. And then we have Daniel.
Hey, thank you for the presentation. My name is Daniel Christenberry. I'm with Florida Lions Eye Clinic. We provide eye care to the underserved community of Florida, focusing on Southwest Florida. My question is this. Our fund development committee essentially is comprised of, several older fundraisers, that have been doing this for a long time, and they're pretty adamant when talking about events to adhering to this old school style of fundraising. Just curious to know what your thought is on that, specifically when you're hosting events. What they are kind of set on is doing an ask event that's based on the Benevon model, that you get 100 people in a room, and three people from the board and the and staff come out, and a testimonial from a patient comes out and then you make your ask. Just wondering what your thoughts on that, because to me, it's like, as somebody, if I were somebody in a position to give, I wouldn't enjoy that, frankly. You know, it doesn't sound great to me. So I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Thanks, Danielle. I appreciate the question, and thanks for the good work that you do. I think, you know, you have to evolve. You have to have multiple types of events that can meet multiple donors. A good thing to do to gauge the interest is, after you have that captive audience and you have your event, do a follow-up. Do a blind follow-up, ask them, is this the kind of format that you enjoyed? What would you have changed about it? And I think constant surveying and relationship building and doing it genuinely is important and goes a long way with donors, because they see that you're listening to them. But I think certainly mixing it up, like, I used to be a part of a lot of the large galas, and you'd have 250 people, but there's so many of those in this area, I know, and my old area. So it's like, a lot of times the people who actually write the checks don't often come. So having some of those smaller, more targeted groups where it can be more interactive, they can share, but also mixing in the friend raisers. You know, instead of just having the 100 people events, bring somebody out, show them your program, have 10 to 20 people, explain what you do, talk for 10 minutes, and then just have a friend raiser, have some hors d'oeuvres. You can interact, they can talk about what you do, you can learn more about them, and it's relationship building. If the only contacts you have are calling people in to ask them for money, I mean, I think that kind of tells you, no matter how good your mission is, they're like, oh man, you know, here we go. But if you're like, hey, you know, we just want to have you out, there's, keep your wallet at home. A lot of times, if you ask them to keep their wallet at home and you just have that network, and they're like, hey, you know, what kind of support do you need? Where are your needs right now? And they'll start asking those questions if you're not directly asking them either.
All right. Well, Joe, thank you again for this presentation. It was very interesting, and I know everybody definitely had some takeaways, as the fundraising landscape has changed. So these are definitely great questions for everybody to be asking themselves as organizations. So thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much, and thanks for everything that you guys do.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We're thrilled to have you here today.
Be safe, everybody.
All right. So now I would love to kind of change gears and, talk about this elephant in the room, the tropical storm that is out there. Before we open it up to everybody, I would just like to share an update on United Way's side. As of now, we have been activated from Lee County Emergency Management to do our storm information hotline. So if you are interacting with clients or even your staff at your organization, and they have questions about the state of the storm, or if they are looking to get sandbags, they can dial 211 and they will be connected to that information. So it's our staff, for those of you who aren't familiar, our same 211 staff that do our everyday resource connection for the community. We become the storm information hotline during an activation. And so I know we all know the track. I'm sure everybody checked it this morning. We're very grateful that we all didn't wake up to see a hard turn to our area. But we do know that some of our communities, especially our barrier islands, I see some of our friends from our agencies on our islands. We know that there is a good chance that they will have some impact. So please remember to keep 211 and the storm information hotline as a resource that you are giving in the community. And then also, if your agency, on the other side of this, Friday, you see that your clients have been impacted, if they need items through our Gifts in Kind program, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I know everybody on this call has at least Tina's information. If you're not someone who interacts frequently with our United Way, you'll have Tina's contact information, but don't hesitate to reach out to our United Way team to make sure that you have what you need post event, whatever that looks like. And whether that be volunteers or in-kind goods or just resource information. So at this point, I would love to open it up to our agencies to share any updates that they have, new staff. If you're new to the network, you'd like to introduce yourself to the group. If you have any programmatic changes, if there's anything storm related that you would like to share, this is kind of your open forum. So I would ask that you just raise your hand, and we would go in the order that we have on the screen. Don't be shy. Someone always has to go first. All right, Heather.
Okay, had to unmute myself. I'll go first for you. I'm Heather with Local Relief, and I'm still waiting to see if I'm going to go to Tallahassee or not. I don't know yet. Part of me does not want to, and part of me is like, let's go. So we shall see. But Local Relief is kicking, so we're trying to get as much information, of course, on there, and really just sharing what we can find, things like 211, things like, any information as far as the hyper-local stuff. We can, kind of blanket on the app general, and then specific, to counties and whatever. But really, I think now it's getting that message out and letting people know, to pay attention and that type of stuff. I mean, just like you guys as well. But also what we're doing is really collecting information. So if you guys have particular things that you're offering, or, whether it be books or diapers or, whatever the case is, let us know. We can post that for you. And then, really just, again, the whole thing is communication and getting that word out of resources that are available for people. So that's what we're trying to do. You can send it to info at Local Relief or Heather at Local Relief. Either of those obviously go to me. But that's about it. I guess that's all I have. So
Thank you,
but
Heather.
stay
If you
safe,
want to
guys.
drop your email in the chat, just so if somebody didn't grab that when you were saying that, if you want to share that, be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And thank you, Joe, for that presentation as well. I think that was fantastic. So
Ariana.
To the camera.
Hi, I'm Ariana Morales.
And I'm Cora Romero, and we are with Healing Stitches. I'm an MSW intern.
And I'm a BSW intern from FGCU.
So we just have a couple of things that we wanted to share with you guys now that we have upcoming events. One of them is our mental health awareness in partnership with Cape Coral Community Church. It's happening on November 2nd from 1 to 3. And it's just a great opportunity to show the community what we have available, just to bridge the gap between services. So what we could do, I can totally email you the flyer and information in case any of you are available, just to be part of this event and support our community, just to have additional information as to what is available here in our community. In addition to that,
yes, and then last week we started up our after school program again, and it's basically free after school tutoring for elementary age kids from 3 to 4:30, and then we also provide like engaging and educational activities for them. And then in addition to that, we're continuing with the therapeutic services for the women of Healing Stitches. So on Wednesdays, we have the sewing group. On Mondays, the English classes. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Yeah.
And then for some reason, we don't have access to the chat.
Yes.
So I'm just going to provide our phone number in case you have any families that may be interested in the after school or tutoring program that we have on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So if you're ready, I'll provide our phone number. It is, is it 239-878-8430. And again, this is with Healing Stitches. I think that's all we got.
Yep.
Okay, I have gone ahead and dropped that in the chat as well for you, so anybody can pull that. So thanks, Ariana.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ladies. Manuela.
Good morning, all. My name is Manuela. I work for Fish of Sanibel and Captiva. We're a social services nonprofit that serves those that live on Sanibel or those that work on Sanibel or Captiva. Pretty much, we are an acronym. The biggest thing that we're focusing on right now is preparedness for those that live or work, with our partnership with, of course, being a resiliency hub under United Way. We are distributing plywood. With our food banks, our local food banks, we have available waters for anybody that may need. One of my vendors actually ran out of water yesterday. So just trying to mitigate people's like distress during this time. In addition to that, thankfully, the projection isn't going to hit our very much recovering impacted area at this time. But that, of course, doesn't negate the feelings that storm season kind of brings our way. So we do Mental Health Wednesdays, which are now going remote for today. And then in addition to that, we have a disaster kit on standby in case the city does decide to evacuate. Hopefully at this time, our projection doesn't seem to be that way. And then I guess maybe good of the order. We recently got awarded the 6.9 million for CDBG DR. We are working in a very multi-use shared space facility at this time. And to continue to do the work that we need to do, our operations have to kind of expand physically. Our building is currently still down to the studs, no electricity, no water, but we are the only ones that are able to do that work for Sanibel and Captiva at this time. So we're working closely with our city municipality. Thanks.
Thank you, and congratulations on that award. That was a big achievement, and I know a couple of our partners are working in that space. So congrats to those of you who did get that.
Thank you so much.
All right, Lauren.
Hey guys, Lauren Walker from Hope Clubhouse. I just wanted to give an update that we have actually our annual luncheon is coming in on October 10th over at Broadway Palm. So we're excited to have a member from our agency, which we are a community of support for adults living with a mental illness. We will have a keynote being one of our members, and then we have the lived experience panel, including other members, staff, partners in the community. And it should be a great time to really hear about how folks are working through their mental illness and how the clubhouse helps support them. We also have a really cool silent auction that's live online. So I can share some of those details, but we were lucky enough to get 15 different auctions up and running. So if you guys are available and interested, we welcome you to join us. And I just hope everyone stays safe and dry over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Same here, Lauren. But thank you. And I know we've had quite a few team members who have attended that event in the past, and it's been very impactful for them. So thank you for sharing. I'd encourage anyone to attend. All right, Daniel.
Hey, Daniel Christenberry with Florida Lions Eye Clinic again. Just one brief update. I wanted to say that we have a new clinic manager in place at the clinic, so we're very excited to get her on track and started making some changes around the clinic. And then also I had just one other request that I wanted to put my feelers out there for. We are searching for a volunteer ophthalmologist. Actually, make that plural. We're seeking volunteer ophthalmologists to help serve our patients in any capacity. So if you know anybody, please send them our way. They're kind of hard to come by, and it's the one challenge that we face that is unrelenting and somewhat for the foreseeable future. We know that this is going to be a thing because most of the people that we get are retired ophthalmologists, and so we have a lot of doctors that they're kind of aging out and ready to really take it easy. So we want to be able to support that. So if anybody knows of someone in that field that might be interested in volunteering, please send them our way, and we'd be happy to show them around. And we'd be happy to show them around anyway. But if they have the potential for volunteering, then that's all the better. So thank you.
Thank you. And should share that the eye clinic is the only one really in, I think, the state of Florida that does what it does. So thank you for the work that you do. It's amazing to have this resource right in our backyard. So
Thank you.
Marissa.
Good morning, everyone. Marissa Houston from Lutheran Services, Florida. We are prevention services for at-risk youth ages 6 to 17. I do want to highlight that we do have our annual Fall Festival coming up on October 26th. And so we do have trunk or treat spots available as well as vendor spots available. So if there is any organizations or agencies here that would love to participate in that, it's a free fun event for all ages in the community. So we would love your support if you're willing to come out. And I will leave all of my information in the chat. Everyone have a great day, and please, please, please stay safe.
Thank you, Marissa. I love a fall festival. It may be 110 degrees out right now, but I'm trying to manifest those fall vibes. So thank you. Cindy.
Good morning. I'm Cindy Magnuson. I am with the Red Cross's Community Adaptation Program. Just a quick reminder for us right now, we are, of course, watching the weather and connecting with our partners in the community. But just a reminder of some of the resources that the Red Cross has available to you. There's, of course, the emergency app. And we encourage you to download it yourself and also to encourage your clients to download it. One of the things that comes up with that emergency app is that it has the tornado. Our tornado sirens are meant to be heard outside. They're not necessarily meant to be heard inside when you're at a grocery store or other places. So if there is a tornado coming in the area, you will hear it come through on your phone. You can set things. The emergency app, if you can encourage your neighbors to download it, it's just a real nice resource. Also, I'm just here to encourage you to sign up for those alerts, whether if you live in Lee County or Collier County, but make sure that you get on your county's alerts that you know your evacuation zone. And then on behalf of our partners at the local Red Cross chapter, and a lot of you know Jill, who's the executive director there, but there are resources in our community, and we are just watching carefully and mobilizing, getting close to the areas of impact so that we are able to serve the community. My coordinator is on this call, Gemilette, and she always has quickly at hand something called Ready Rating, and that is a free resource available to all of you and anybody who you know to assess your organization's readiness for an event such as this. And this is a good time to do it, especially if we end up getting not a lot of impact and you end up stuck at home for a little bit or stuck in the office with not a lot of action coming through. This is a really good time to assess your readiness, and that this is a great tool. It gives you next steps that you should take. It gives you your strengths, your weaknesses, and it's completely free. And I know Gemilette is probably already queuing that up to pop into the chat. If not, we'll make sure Tina gets it out to everybody. It's just a great free read. So, and there she is, and she added the emergency app too. I knew she was there. So she's got that going on in the chat. We just encourage you to take advantage of that personally and as an organization. So on behalf of our community adaptation team and the local Red Cross chapter, we are here for you. We're watching, and we're just so glad that you are doing what you do for our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy. I know the CAP program has been a tremendous resource for many of our partners, so thank you. I'm actually going to put I know we have several campaign team members from United Way. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot, Karen. I don't know if you'd like to share about our Beltober event or any other upcoming news.
Yeah, great. Thank you, everybody. So I'll make this quick because I know that our hearts and our minds are with safety and the storm. So first and foremost, we want everybody to be prepared and stay safe and take care of yourselves and your families so that you can help take care of others. Our campaign this year is going really well. So far, we kicked off our Pace Setter event. Gentle reminder for all of us collectively together. It takes all of us, right? It takes everybody, locking elbows and doing what we can to raise that money. So, so far, all of our partner agencies, we have about 60% who are either already in process of running their campaigns or have finished running their campaigns. So we're really looking to that last 30% or so to reach out, help us help you. We will come out and do some presentations, give you some ideas, and really bolster that. We do raise about half of our money through our Pace Setter process. So encourage everybody to jump in early. Also want to thank those of you who came out with us for Public. Huge success this year. Last year we did about 8 public presentations during our Pace Better process, and this year we did 90. So huge impact. So thank you to all of you who came out and signed up and helped us with that process. Beltober is coming up October 4th. It is a partnership with the Bell Power Shop, and it's a beer tasting festival. We have about 10 vendors, and it's also like a mac and cheese tasting. So our tickets are on sale on our website. We've got a lot of events coming up. Our website has been recently updated, so please take a moment to visit over there. Our kickoff event is November 7th, so get your tickets now. We always expect about 800 people to show up, so we want to make sure that you have a reserved seat. Tickets are on sale. They're $15 a piece, and that covers the cost of your participation. So I won't go too much further into detail. So thank you, everybody, for your hard work and for serving our community. United, we really are stronger. So thank you for your participation and your partnership.
Thank you. All right. Any final good of the order? All right. Well, I'll just echo what everyone. Oh, Lynn, yes, go ahead.
I just want to say that 211 works with the Emergency Operations Center closely, and they have activated us. So we are getting firsthand information from the EOC. So if folks are curious for different matters, whether it's closed roads or closed schools or who may be open, where to get sandbags, they can always dial 211.
Thank you, Lynn. And also 433-3900 if
they can't get,
yeah.
yes, that's the full number. If you can't get 211 access, it would be 239-433-3900. I do apologize. I'm not feeling well. So if I sound a little crinkly, I do apologize. And you'll stay safe.
Thank you. Well, on that note, I just want to say thank you all so much for everything you do in blue skies, right, year round, but also in times like this, which we refer to as gray skies. I hope you all stay safe. As Karen said, take care of your family, take care of yourself, your team, your agency. Let us know if there is any needs whatsoever. We are happy to help and bring those resources if we can to make sure you have your needs met. So stay safe. We'll see you all on the other side of this event. Thank you all.
Thank you.